So we'll let, Neil, you can go ahead.
Okay, so
Go ahead. Yeah.
if everyone's ready. Interim Chair Bosch asked me to lead today's meeting because he was unable to attend. So I'm going to try to do this quickly and hand it over, but I'd like to make a motion to call the meeting to order.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 21st, 2025 College Council meeting. Let's make a motion.
I hope Mr. Bosch is not sick.
No, he just.
No.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Does anyone want to make any changes to the meeting minutes or any objections?
I wasn't here, but I'll still motion.
You know, you can do that, right?
I know, but I just, it feels weird to motion for minutes I can't verify, but I'll motion to approve last meeting's minutes. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And so new business, this is the university's strategic planning process, university's vision, and I'd like to introduce the guests that include Dan Silverberg, consultant from Campus Works, and SUNY New Paltz strategic planning tri-chairs, Shala Mills, John Reyna, and Shelley Wright. Sorry, I pronounced your names wrong. And so we all received several emails. Hopefully, people went through what we were supposed to. We're going to spend about 10 minutes finalizing the draft mission statement. And I would like to now hand it over to Dan Silverberg from Campus Works.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for reconvening. It's nice to see you all electronically, at least. First thing, AV check. Are you able to see the PowerPoint slides on the screen?
Yep, we're all good, Dan.
Excellent. Thank you very much again. I want to just quickly remind you of the context that the vision is part of a long strategic planning process that began in August over on the left. And you can see we're right in the middle of the process. And beginning next week, we hope to have a draft mission, a draft vision, and some draft values that the committee will form into draft strategies. And then moving through the following months, we'll test those and move into the final phases of the strategic planning process by developing measurable objectives and action plans, and then present a refurbished strategic plan to Dr. Wheeler and his team. Just quick context. As was mentioned, we hope to confirm your opinions on a draft mission statement today, as well as begin to develop a vision for SUNY New Paltz. Thoughts, questions, concerns about those objectives before we move forward? Okay. As a reminder, the first 10 minutes of our meeting today will be about confirming our draft mission statement, which is defined as our reason for being. And then the remainder of our time together will be spent on brainstorming a vision statement, which is what do you want to do? What do we want SUNY New Paltz to do in the future aspirationally? But let's move right into the proposed mission statements. You'll recall that we brainstormed a significant amount of information in our last meeting. We and the tri-chairs of the Strategic Planning Committee pulled those together into some potential mission statements that we then worked with college leadership to narrow down to these two potential mission statements. I'm going to read them both off to you along with the rationale so that we're all level set on really the discussion around opinions around which of these two best represents our reason for being. The first potential draft mission statement is SUNY New Paltz provides a transformative education that encourages academic achievement and civil engagement. This version emphasizes the transformative academic experiences that we discussed in our last meeting, as well as the societal contributions that were brought forward. They reflect the strategic pillars and goals of the institution, as well as pulling in community feedback that we've received throughout the process. So once again, the first potential draft mission statement is SUNY New Paltz provides a transformative education that encourages academic achievement and civil engagement. The second potential draft mission statement is SUNY New Paltz advances personal and academic growth, preparing students to meet the challenges of a changing world. This potential draft mission statement highlights comprehensive development and readiness for global challenges. And that was something that we discussed in our last session. It also aligns with our commitment to empower students for future success. It upfront brings forward advancing personal growth in addition to the academic growth that you see, and also acknowledges the fact that our learners are moving into a dynamic and changing world. Thought it might be helpful for you all to, as we discussed last time, see a little contextual comparison to other SUNY institution mission statements. I'm not going to read these word for word. I'm going to leave them on the screen for a moment. You've had an opportunity to review them, but I did want to just allow you some contextual insights from other SUNY institutions. With that flash, I'd like to open the floor to discussion around the two potential mission statements that you see on your screen. Anyone want to volunteer to begin by simply articulating your thoughts on which you prefer and or why?
I have a question about procedure. Are we going to be voting or agreeing or just providing input?
Providing input.
Okay. If I already have the floor, I'll just say that I prefer the second one. I think that it touches on what to me a university and college experience is like, which is preparing you for the future. It's not necessarily about what you're learning, but how to learn. And I also dislike the word encourages in the first one. So to me, encouraging academic achievement is not enough. I mean, academic achievement is what I don't think it should be encouraged. I think it's like, it feels like you go get it, like great job. And I think that that's not a strong enough word to represent the role that a SUNY school should be playing in terms of academic achievement. So if I had to vote, I would vote for the second one.
Excellent. Thank you for the feedback. Others?
I'll go next. I really like the first one. I'm going to disagree with Julie, although I agree with her rationale, but I just happen to fall in the camp of the first one. I find that the emphasis of civic engagement is really, really important. I think that is something that historically has been in the DNA of the campus. I think that that's hugely important. I think it's important that our mission statement includes that outward look for the impact that our students have. I feel that the second one is very inward, and I think there are really amazing and spiritual and profound things about the personal growth and the academic growth. But like the first half of the second one is that inward look. While important, I don't think that that is our mission. And the second half of the second statement, it implies that the world, I mean, this might be true, and this might be the way many feel in this moment, that the world is a challenging place and we need special skills to meet it. But I think we can be a little bit more bold about having an impact. I think that that feels like it's defensive. The world is challenging. We're on the defensive, and we need to, the world is up here and we can rise to meet it at best. I think that the civic engagement is really about rising beyond that and having an impact on that world. And not, I think saying the world is challenging, all true. I think it's a bit of a cop-out, honestly. I think that we can be more in control of our destiny. I think that people actually maybe spend too much time resting in that place of concern for having to overcome the challenges. I actually don't know that that helps us overcome them anymore.
Excellent. Thank you. Noted. Others?
I mean, I like the second one. I kind of agree with Julie. I like the fact that it's talking about advancing personal and academic growth and not just encouraging. People are here to learn how to learn, not to, learn about civic engagement. And I think that's great that that's something this university does. But if I were applying to colleges, I want to learn how to learn. And that's why I'm going to college, not to learn how to do civic engagement.
So the first one suits you, really, the first mission. It provides a transformative education that encourages academic achievement and civic engagement. I think that covers all the bases. Do you? You don't?
Well, no, I like the first one. I think that the concern is around the encouragement of academic achievement as opposed to something stronger. Is that right?
Well, for me, I don't like saying that we encourage civic engagement. That's not why you go to college. You go to college to learn how
That's
to learn,
right. That's true. That's true.
in my opinion. But everyone goes to college for different reasons. So
Ron's got his hand.
Hi, I don't like either one of them. But I like the concept of both of them, and I would rather see and have it read, SUNY New Paltz provides a transformative education that advances academic achievement and civic engagement, preparing students to meet the challenge
Yeah,
of changing world.
that's combining the two of them
Yeah,
in a
because
very good way.
Because I think we should be talking about the changing world as part of the educational goal. And by having it only in the second and not in the first, most of what's in the first is what is probably what we're liking, and strike the word encouragement and put it advances. And that would be the suggestion I would make.
Advances.
Yeah.
That's a better word.
Striking the word encourages.
So, Shelley, are you writing that down?
I'm making some notes and so is
It is being noted, yes.
Dan and Rich is keeping minutes. So we're,
summarized all of our thoughts from the last meeting and came up with these two. Now I'm interested in what the
May I have a comment?
yeah.
In the first one, I'm wondering about changing the word academic to lifelong or something like that, because you've already got the word education in the first part. So academic becomes redundant. And I think by adding the word lifelong achievement to civic engagement, it's noting that what we're providing here is a foundation rather than a kind of ending or a culmination. That this is crucial to the students here, that they are going to be able to go out and use the foundation here, both for their own personal achievement. And I know that a lot of members of the faculty like civic engagement because that suggests being prepared for all kinds of conditions as they become adults.
Yeah, I second that. I very much like the first statement more than the second, because college is a transformative experience, and that's something that we want to make sure that we're providing students, because as a student, you walk in as a freshman, the person who leads as a senior is an entirely different individual. So it is a transformative education and experience that we're hoping to provide. And it's not just academic achievement that we're hoping to impress upon the students, it's lifelong achievement. We don't want these students to just be good students. We want them to be productive individuals who are going to go out and change the world.
I agree completely with what he said.
Professional achievement too.
I think broad. I think making it broad. I think the edit that Rennie just suggested that you highlighted really well, I think is making that achievement a very broad thing and not narrowing it. I do like one of my critiques of higher ed that I'm like not shy about sharing is that we focus often on academic achievement as being the end goal. And I don't think it I think for some people it might be, but I think for others and for most of us, and I think our mission should be the goal being much broader. So I really appreciate that. Yeah.
I actually, just to follow on that, I'm concerned about I think the big difference between the first one and the second one to me is the word achievement, because in the top, it's basically saying, to me, achievement is the end. Like you have a goal and this is what we want you to get to. But the bottom one is about the path. And to me, it's not always about what the end goal is. It's about getting there on the right path and understanding the path to get there, and the path will lead you to more things. And that's what I think the growth part is. So to me, it's a difference between like the end goal of what we want our people to be, and the other is the development of like how to live your life in a better way.
Thank you.
I do believe that part of going to college is preparation for your future. And the first option doesn't include that, whereas the second one does.
Well, I would argue that most people already know that. You know, most people that go to college know that they're going to college to help better prepare themselves for the road ahead. So to say that, like, that's, in my opinion, isn't something that needs to be included or emphasized in the mission statement, because that's like the primary reason why most people are coming. We want people to come here, we want people who are coming here to know that they're getting an experience that is different from other colleges. And any college is going to say, like, we're preparing you for like the future or for a challenging world. And we have to really try to focus on encapsulating that uniqueness that we offer here.
I mean, can I ask how you feel about the inclusion of mentioning the challenges of a changing world?
I mean, once again, I kind of feel like it's one of those things that sounds nice, but it's not necessary. The world's always changing. There's always challenges in the world. You don't need to say that we're preparing students for the challenges of a changing world. Everything is preparing someone for the challenges of the changing world. You know, that's everything that we learn how to do every single day. So we want to make, in my opinion, I feel like if we're discussing changing the mission statement, I think it's important that we try to make sure that we're not just changing it into something that every other college is already saying.
Yes, that's good thinking.
And I like the idea of changing the phrasing for academic achievement, because, you know, unless you're going to undergrad to get into grad school or get into med school, you don't really just need academic achievement. You need, you know, to learn for life. So, you know, I like the suggested changes about, you know, encourages lifetime achievement or something like that.
Yeah, I also like the lifelong achievement because it's broad enough that it's telling students that whatever path that they choose to embark upon, they can find achievement and success within that. And that's what we want to be able to tell students, that you can come here for a variety of reasons, seeking to do a variety of things, and we are capable of providing you the tools necessary to find success in that life path.
Excellent. Good feedback. Others' thoughts? Where I'm hearing we have landed is a combination of the two, which I think is smart and thoughtful, particularly focusing on the idea of transformative education, changing the word encourages to something more definitive, and eliminating duplication of education and academic, and providing, instead of it being academic, being lifelong achievement. I also hear some dissonance around the challenges of a changing world, but more importantly, working to integrate the concept of education being a pathway into the mission statement, which I think is in fact doable through a combination of the two. Does that replay sound accurate to the conversation that you all have heard and been having?
Yes, I would probably offer as opposed to preparing for it, is to Oh, I have it in my mind in a minute. As opposed to preparing for the challenges of a changing world, to equip you to accept the challenges of a changing world. I just think that the change, a lot of people go to college because in some ways they're hoping to advance themselves for what comes in the future. But it doesn't always mean that they want to, that it's always understood. It's often implied. And I just think that we should be a little bit more definitive that we are looking to, to contribute to the challenges of a changing world.
Yeah, my view is I loved the concept of inclusion of lifelong. I think that encompasses some of what we, yes, thank you. And takes into account some of what you just said. And I also think that the idea of inclusion of the challenges of a changing world I think we should hold on to that concept for the next part of today's meeting in terms of discussing the vision for the institution. And I think we'll have to give some thought to its use in the mission statement. So I think we can put a pin in the discussion of challenges of a changing world until we come around to the vision conversation and see where and how those things may work together.
Oh, I didn't want to say much because I wanted the people who haven't seen this too. So I'm letting the process go. You know, from my feedback, Dan, earlier, I'm a big fan of active verbs in place of passive statements. So transform as a verb, and instead of encourages, equips people for lifelong whatever. But it should be something that is actionable in both of those components. And then the other thing that I know why people people are going to come for a variety of reasons, but every 4 years, the audience changes and the mission statement is intended for the school. And how we deliver on that becomes really critical for me. And we were having somewhat of a discussion about that this morning, about the difference between practice and policy and some other things. And the question for me is, as an institution, how do we assure transformative education? And how do we suspect we would account for lifelong learning and civic engagement? I think this would then be in the strategic plan. It would be a mandate for us because right now we do not collect very good post-graduation data. We assume we know what we've launched people into, but we have 70,000+ alum. This would speak to interrogation of our curriculum and our practices. Are they transformative? Are they promoting and advancing lifelong learning and engagement? I'm in favor of that, but if in adopting it, are we really going to do it, or is it going to be check and done? But I think this comes next when we start to talk about what are the values we actually believe in. And for my money, as the president and CEO of this enterprise, this is where your money goes in play. You should be able to align your dollar allocations with your mission.
Agreed. Thank you for the additional color, Dr. Wheeler. Appreciate it. Okay, I feel good about the feedback we received, and I think I have a good sense of what the go forward is. I do want to remind you, which I'll do again at the end, we are talking about a draft mission statement that we will get further feedback from faculty, staff, students, community stakeholders in about 3 or 4 weeks. Okay, if it is okay with all of you, I'm going to move on to a foundational discussion of the vision for the institution, which again is intended to be aspirational and focusing on what do you want to do, meaning future forward. So vision statement should look at the long-term goals. It should be different from our current position, be future-oriented, ambitious, aspirational, inspirational, motivational. Like our discussion around the mission statement, we do want to ensure that it is clear and concise. To the point the president made about the mission, similar with the vision, it should drive action and should serve as a filter for other decisions. To help set some context, I wanted to provide a couple of sample vision statements. On the left, you see some corporate vision statements. Southwest Airlines to become the world's most loved, most flown, and most profitable airline. Habitat for Humanity, a world where everyone has a decent place to live. And the Alzheimer's Association, a world without Alzheimer's. As well as providing 2 vision statements that we thought were appropriate for you to consume from academic institutions. Fort Hays State University in Kansas. We will be accessible to those who seek higher education, unlocking potential aligned with the democratic, economic, and social needs of our communities, our region, and our world. And then Ohio University to deliver the most valued university education in Ohio and lead as one of the most valued public universities in the nation. I'm going to leave those samples up on the screen for a moment so you can absorb them. And then we're just going to go into, similar to our discussion around the mission as we had in our last meeting, I'll ask a couple of prompting questions and open the floor up for discussion, but want to give you all an opportunity to absorb some of those sample vision statements first. Okay. One more AV check. Do you all see the slide that says let's discuss? I'm having a bit of a computer issue. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so if we were to look back 15 years from now, what ambitious achievements would you like to see SUNY New Paltz be known for? What elements should our vision include to inspire and motivate not only our current students and faculty, but as we mentioned a minute ago, attract future generations? Think about these 2 question prompts and let's have a discussion to answer them. And obviously, as I did previously, I am going to use the discussion points that you are making to formulate potential vision statement. And as you did last time, if some of you have ideas for a specific vision statement, that's great, but it's not necessary for you to do that. We're looking for you to think about these questions, discuss them, so that we can pull out potential vision statement content. Okay, you all are not shy, so I will open it up to the floor. See who would like to discuss these prompts and obviously take the discussion anywhere that you see fit. Name some achievements you want in 15 years from now you would be proud of SUNY New Paltz for, well, achieving. Start there.
Well, I'm wondering, like, so one of the things I know about SUNY, I had to look it up to get the wording right, but it's one of the best universities in the Northeast, right? And good, best for value, social mobility, and veterans. And so we're already good at that. Should we try to be even better at that in 15 years and play on our strengths and let people know that that's part of our vision, to be one of the best universities in the Northeast? Just one idea.
I would expand that to the country. We're the best damn college in the country.
How about
qualifying it so that it fits that is the best public university. I mean, kind of reduces, you could even say the best regional comprehensive in the entire United States so that it fits in a universe that maybe is aspirational, but is not competed out of our.
Oh,
Mhm.
it'll be 200 in 2028,
220
In 3 years.
foundation,
in 3 years,
228-year foundation of, what he was just saying,
200-year foundation.
225-year foundation of being best of whatever it is. Yeah,
Although we weren't that the whole 200 years.
it's our foundation. It's our foundation.
Yes.
Yep, I think that's a good point.
And it's not really an achievement, but what if we let people know that we are home to over 150 active student-led organizations?
We tie that in with academic programs also, saying some numerical number of academic programs and 150 students.
Right, so that's today. Take that same concept and broaden it to 15 years from now, and kind of broaden your thinking to say, basically your point there was to say we engage students in a wide range of academic and non-academic stuff, because that is one of the things that SUNY New Paltz is known for. Keep talking about that concept of being, I hate to use a cliche, but a student-centric university, right? Keep fleshing out a concept around that. What in 15 years from now would we want to say is an achievement that represents the student centricity of SUNY New Paltz?
Yeah. At the risk of being insulting to anybody in the room, Dan, what you just said, what does that mean for us when you say a student-centric? I think I know what it means.
Well, I'll tell you what made me say it, and then you can riff from there. A regional state school that has 150 student-led organizations. Most regional state schools have 50, 75, maybe student-led organizations. 150 student-led organizations is a lot. And it does give some sense of, putting use your phrase, money where your mouth is by supporting that number of student-led organizations. So
not 150, 233.
Nice, even more.
Between clubs and fraternities and sororities, 233.
So I'm going to touch on that and say, so what?
Yep.
So what? What does that mean in terms of a vision? Think about what the vision statement is. And I went back to my notes on vision statement, and I had the privilege years ago of going to the Disney World leadership. They have a leadership program, and they bring executives from around the world.
Yes.
And you participate, and I got 2 little dolls in there. You'll see you get prizes for doing something right. And the Disney statement is their vision to be the most admired entertainment company on the planet. And they deliver on that promise. They're very simple, and that's why people will spend $500 a day to take their family, plus hotels, because it's in our heads that is a thing.
Right.
So that's what I think that's to me. And when we say student centric and why I pushed on just the number of clubs, it's like, so what? I mean, to me, if we're going to have clubs, I would say something like SUNY New Paltz is a school where every student who graduates has participated in at least 1 internship, at least 5 campus clubs, and 2 off-campus international experiences.
How do you say it in 3 words?
What if you said instead of student-centric, which to me is, that's a kind of
it's a cliche,
well-worn term, something like student active. So kind of reducing, a student active university, that kind of includes, I think, what you're getting at, moving away from Or getting to the so what?
You know, and the reason I put those out there is because when I look at competitors, when I look at the rankings of the top universities, the best practices and the things that they tout and actually students look for, internships, international experience, off-campus global activity. These are the things that people chalk up and families pay for. Is my kid going to get an internship? Is my kid going to get a placement in a public, and if we said civic engagement, that every student is guaranteed to have at least one placement in a civic engagement environment, that every student, you know, what are the things, and if there is a way to encapsulate that under a simple phrase, but if you go in and look at the best practice, those are the kinds of things that the top schools enumerate.
Yeah, and I also think, you know, I agree wholeheartedly. And I also think that the concept, again, because the phrase itself is cliched, but the concept of student centricity does not have to be the sole and only component of where we see ourselves in the future or the vision statement, right? It can be combined with some of the other ideas that have been thrown out there, which is, you know, the idea of best in class, you know, within the construct of public university or regional comprehensive. I think there's an opportunity to potentially combine those concepts, but I also wonder if we think about our discussion here about sitting around this table right now with the same folks in 15 years, 10 years, whatever the number may be, and saying, to the point the president's making, what are the tangible achievements that we've been able to make? What are the tangible differences between where we are now and and the sentences we want to say as achievements in the future?
Can I ask, and let me just, I'm gonna put you on the spot, Xavier. 15 years from now, don't be modest. What do you want to look back at as your crown and glory? 15, just 15 years, not 115, 15. If you're rocketing, where are you going to be?
Like,
Don't be modest, but think about it. Just throw it out. Throw something out.
15 years from now, where am I going to be at?
What's an accomplishment that you would love to have under your belt in 15 years?
Be a millionaire.
Huh?
Be a millionaire.
Okay, so see, you ask a graduate, economic success.
How about something along the lines of a rewarding academic environment matched with a fulfilling extracurricular activities? Something along that line, which would encapsulate what you get academically and also taking in internships and other things like that as the extracurricular activities that are fulfilling. It's just as a starting point. I mean, it's.
So I don't mess this up too much. I'm going to walk away and I'm going to drop this one again because I look at competitors, to your point, a lot of them show the median income of their graduates. That the median income of the graduates is $98,000 within 4 years of graduation. That the median income is $120,000. This is the kind of stuff that people actually look for, and we can be visionary. And there's different ways of saying it. We don't have to put that in the vision, but I think Dan's just trying to capture right now. What's the vision?
That's right. So student representative said, I want to be rich, you know, I want to have economic mobility based on my education. That's really thoughtful, smart, and and what a student would say. That's absolutely right. Think about
Abe had something. Abe had something there.
Sure. So I want to go back to the kind of pressure that President Wheeler put on us to answer the question, so what, around the number of clubs and everything. I think that what's happening there is that we have students who are making things their own, who are coming and doing a deep level of self-realization by starting a club or by joining a club and having so many options for what they want to get involved in. So there's a high level of like the impression, the notion, the vibrancy that you can customize your life to make it what you want it to be. So there's like a self-actualization that's possible from that. And I think that if we were to translate that into a vision, it could be something along the lines of developing a reputation that our alumni, when you bring them onto a team, they make that their own. Our alumni can create their vision in every different way in their lives. Like they can, the same level of being able to customize your student experience translates into being able to customize your life, whether it's to have financial security or if it's to have an impact or whatever it is. Our students are not just capable of dreaming, but they're actually capable of realizing that dream.
So I would agree with that part, but I would argue that having more clubs is not a predictor of that. But that may be something, because you could have 200 clubs and 50% of them have 1 or 3 people. But that does, so again, I don't want to diminish that part, but the latter part about the customization and the self-actualization may be the vision that our students are, and you figure out how to phrase that.
From the club count.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, what I heard was that in 15 years from now, you want to be able to look back as a college council member and say, I helped ensure that our graduates are able to enable action and are able to self-actualize. And that's what I picked up from the comment. And I think that in and of itself is a really good chunk of vision, for lack of a better term.
Neil had his hand up.
Some people want to make money. Other people want to do other things. And so what if instead of saying, I want to, we help people become a millionaire, we help them succeed in life. That could be the vision. We're the best public university in the Northeast that helps students succeed in life after.
How do you measure that? I mean, how do we know that piece?
Well, you teach them how to learn, you teach them how to.
No, not how do you do it? How do we know that piece?
As a student,
happy.
As a student who has a 50-year view of the place, the one word that comes to my mind is that from the time that I was here to where New Paltz is now, is the expansion that has gone on. And I think expansion could be applied to a lot of the things for growth, for financial stability, our financial worthiness, academic advancement, going on to law schools or whatever. But it's always been the expansion, because there's also not only the programs, there's expansion of the academic programs that are offered here. There's an expansion of the physical space where dorms are now greater than when I was here. So expansion is probably the one thing that comes to mind. And that's something that I think that a vision should be about, expanding where you are today for tomorrow.
Sure. So replaying that concept, it's that SUNY New Paltz footprint is more expansive, both physically, but also its ability to impact some of the things like that we were discussing around student self-actualization. Expanded footprint is a good visionary concept.
This is Renee. I totally agree with what my fellow alum of 50 years said. I'm not at 50 yet, but something about—
That's not what I heard.
Listen here. There's something seriously though about expansion, because graduating in 33 years ago, New Paltz is not what it was. And to the students' point, having all of the different clubs is, while it is great, for me, I would like to see the initiatives of scholarship happen for the student as it relates to getting an internship in any area and succeeding there. And that internship then helping you get to the position, the place, the whatever that you intended to do when you came to the school. So there's a direct tie of when you came in, what you did when you were here, what you got when you left, and that what you could give back. So now you're a philanthropist and you're able to give back to X amount more at the school level, at the council level, at the student level, and it's different now. So our mission then gets to speak to not just what it is today, but what does it look like? So expansion, I think, is a key piece, but for me, it's expansion in what? That has to be measurable. Because just saying, we have more dorms and we have more clubs. My thing is and not in a negative way, it's good to have it, but how is it measurable? What are those clubs doing? What are the buildings doing? The buildings are energy efficient. What makes that different than the other schools that are in the neighborhood or in the area, in the Hudson Valley area? So they are solar because we're looking what energy looks like in this space. We're looking to save and to make the school viable in the changing world that we just finished talking about. So those are the pieces for me as I sit here and listen. Expansion is a piece, but with everything, it has to be measurable. And the question then becomes for the student, how is it measurable? And with that, I'm going to be quiet.
Oh, sorry, I see someone has their hand raised. Just real quick, I've just been doing a little bit of research. We have it posted on our site that within 6 months after graduation, 57% of students secure employment, which is pretty big, I'd say right now with I don't know too much, but I know the job market is a little rough right now. So saying more than half of our students are securing employment within 6 months after graduation. And then we also have it reported on our site that 93% of our graduates are employed 2 years after graduation. Those could be things that we look to have. We're talking about achievements.
Right.
Make those better.
High employability is definitely, a potential outcome.
So everyone needs a job.
Just to follow up on that, I did put a comment in the chat. I don't know if folks there can see it, but I did say a renowned pathway for a productive society. We are creating that pathway so that folks are productive beyond here, and that kind of gets to that point. I will also just chime in that I know that it matters a lot, but it doesn't matter to me when someone says we want to be the number one, whatever, or we are the number one. That's to me, that's like saying Crest is the number one toothpaste in the world, and I don't use Crest. That tells me nothing about it. Crest doesn't follow, it has things in it I don't like, it has marketing I don't like, whatever. Great, Crest is the number one toothpaste. It's not my choice. That tells me nothing about it. So, and it also tells me while I'm using it, it doesn't tell me anything about what I'm going to get out of it. So that's the way I feel about saying, we will be the number one college. That's great. So while you're there, you can say I went to the number one, but what does that mean for when you walk away? So I think that we need to go beyond that. Other people can call us whatever they want, but to me, that's not something we should be striving for.
Got it. Thank you.
I like that concept that Ron started with, and that Renee built on the concept of expansion, thinking of some kind of closely related concepts that would also touch on one of the vision statements about challenges of a changing world. And those concepts would be adaptability, agility, if you're talking about what could we say that we did in 15 years, we created an institution that had the agility to respond to changing circumstances. And I say that because we're entering in a time right now where we are clearly facing changing circumstances, the threat of closing down the Department of Education, for example. And so we're going to have to be quite nimble in the way that we respond to a wide array of changing circumstances. I'm just saying I like the concept of agility or adaptability as a way that it might fit with part of the mission statement.
Yeah, I like that. Nimble, agile.
I want to build on something that Neil said and something that Xavier said as well. That, the notion of like everyone's path might be a little bit different. I really appreciate that President Wheeler asked about like what do you want to be in 15 years after graduating. So I am 15 years after graduating right now, and I'm actually right now working for the first time ever. I'm working on my 10-year vision where I want to be 10 years from now, and I actually really wish I had done this sooner, not because I'd be farther along on that journey. I think I'd probably come up with something 10 years ago and different when I was in college. But I think that there's something about being able to like that our students can formulate a dream and achieve it. And that dream can be different, but the action of formulating it is significant and the action of achieving it is very significant and measurable.
So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff, every student graduate has a formulated plan for their 15-year forward. That's something you can actually you could create that as part of the graduation experience. It doesn't mean that you live it, but when you graduate, you formulated a plan.
As long as you revise it at age 25 when your brain is fully formed.
Well, you'd be doing it at 22 and you can look at it.
I'm doing it at 36 now, so.
I plan to do it when I turn 70.
There you go, goals.
Okay, good. This is a lot of good inputs. Are there folks who have not had an opportunity to talk about their views of the potential vision of the institution in the future that would like to? Okay. Thank you all very much for the wonderful input. I really appreciate it. As I mentioned before, we will work towards combining the two mission statements as we discussed in the first part of our meeting and developing a vision statement based on your inputs. Both of those draft statements will be further tested by faculty, staff, students, community stakeholders in about 4 to 5 weeks. And we will take that input and finalize them with institutional leadership. Once again, I thank you all for taking the time today. Very, very helpful. Any final thoughts, questions, or concerns as we round out this portion of the draft development of mission and vision statements? I can't see everybody. So Shelley, does anybody have their hand raised or anything in the room?
Just running.
Oh, I would just say one thing. In looking at the model vision statements you gave us, I just think shorter is better.
I
The
like
two
that.
university ones I thought they were too long. I know you got to get a lot of stuff in there, but you know.
I could safely say as a student, I'm not reading University of Buffalo's vision statement.
It's not happening. I also think I would just ask that you also please avoid terms of art that are used in academia, like very specific terms that only make sense in academia.
Student-centric.
Even, I mean, yeah, we go to find out, I mean, that like at least means certain things, but like if you were to, like the suggestion of like a regional college, like what does that mean? Or something like sharpening the point too finely with language that's specific to academia sometimes kind of goes over people's head. I know it does mine.
Clear and concise.
And universal
Absolutely.
language.
I will do that very thing. Thank you all very much. And I look forward to seeing you all in the near future in some strategic planning context.
Woohoo!
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So when's our next meeting?
March 12th.
March 12th. And so it's not on your calendars. Other than that, anything else we need for this?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Oh.
Good conversation.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
That's 12.
You know what time on the 12th?
I can look real quick.